What's up, guys?
What makes Jalen Hurts a unique challenge this weekend?
Big, physical quarterback. He's got arm talent to be able to make every single throw. Elite deep ball thrower, can get it behind the defense pretty quick, pretty good. I mean, he can. He's good in the pocket. He's very aware from a pressure standpoint, being able to escape. And then obviously the QB runs. They don't do it often, but when they do, it's effective. But and you can't phase him. I mean, if got a chance to practice against him when he was way back at the Jets. I mean, the young man's got elite presence and damn good football player.
Preach all gas, no brakes. When you're going up against a quarterback like him in a scheme like that, which leverages his legs, does it slow you down a little bit? Is it like some gas, a little brake?
Well, the all gas, no brake thing is more than just blindly running, obviously. But no, he's good. He makes people miss. So you've got to be great with your leverages. You've got to be great inside out, chasing the inside hip, making sure that you hold your leverage, trust your teammate on the other side. And but yeah, that goes for everybody. That goes for Saquon and the receiving core and the tight end, all of them. We've got to improve our leverages. It's what kind of caught up to us against Seattle. Not taking the proper angle. That's usually the starting point for all tackling.
You're obviously been challenged by injuries all year at various positions, but your situation at linebacker right now, particularly just with how important communication is at that position, how are you kind of navigating that with more moving pieces even this week?
I feel like Johnny and KJ have done such a really nice job getting all these guys ready to be next up, and Eric has come in just going off yesterday with Wallow. They did a really nice job through walkthrough and practice. I feel like Tig and Malik have done a really good job kind of ramping up their communication. So it's not just one person. It's a collective as a group. And, we're far along in the season where I feel like they're really coming along from a defensive standpoint with regard to communication. So I don't think it'll be a problem.
It's only been one day with Kaiser White, but just what were your impressions of him? Is it realistic?
Yeah, he's got familiarity with the system. He was with Gus over at the Chargers, and I remember him coming out. I think we were hoping he'd get to the fifth, and the Chargers took him in the fourth. But one of those prototypical safeties that you could convert to a linebacker, and he's had a hell of a career for himself, and he's ready to go. He knows our system too, and so he can step in if needed to and give us minutes.
Is he training at one particular spot this week?
Kaiser.
White.
Yeah, he knows all of them. He can play all three.
Robert, Eagles are notorious for their tush push. I'm curious, before the season, were you for it, against it, and then also how do you stop it?
No, good question. I'm for it. I think if you do something good and the rest of the league hates on that, it's a good thing, right? They've mastered it. If it was easy to do, everybody in the league would be doing it, and teams that have tried to duplicate it struggle. So if you're going to take that out, then you might as well take out the forward pass for some of these teams that do really good with it. So I'm for keeping it. But as far as stopping it, we'll give it our best shot and see what happens. I always say the best way to keep them, the best way to stop it is don't give them 3rd and 1, but they'll probably get to that eventually.
In your experience, when it comes to like two new guys, let's say it is Eric Kendricks and Kaiser White out there together, does synergy and chemistry kind of matter when you have those two in a new system, one just a few weeks in and one coming in this week?
Yeah, I think so. Just just communication, how they're going to play different things, how they're going to play different route concepts, the trust that someone's going to be in an area when you're trying to create an exchange based on coverages. But they're two very experienced players. They've played a lot of football, and you trust that they'll have it all figured out.
Why defenses had more success against Barkley this year than the previous year?
I'm going to skip that question from a schematic standpoint, but I still think he's elite. I know his production isn't what it was a year ago, but he's still a damn good football player. He's still a threat to break it any time he touches the ball. Stoutland is still one of the best O-line coaches in all of football, and creating good angles and creating space for the back. So but they can still run the ball as good as anybody.
You think the 3 games in 13 days or whatever it was part of the problem when it came to tackling against Seattle?
I don't know. it was definitely a tough stretch, not to give anybody an out, because you're also talking 3 nationally televised games where the emotions and all that stuff, but it doesn't matter. You know, your number's called, you got to answer the bell, and it's as simple as just taking the proper angles and taking the extra step. You know, could you say that, God, your body, you're a little tired, and so you're missing the extra step to get your body there? Sure, but it's still not an excuse. We've got to be our best when our best is required, and we just weren't that on Sunday.
The NFL head coaching jobs are open now. How do you kind of split, or do you even at all split your time between looking at these opportunities and what they may entail and doing your job here?
Now, you know, the league has done a really nice job with structuring the interview process to allow people to focus on the job at hand. So I haven't thought about any of it. It's I know things come in, but it's not something that I have to deal with until next week. So I'm completely focused on Philly.
What is it that Upton Stout used to get better at when you got him, and how did he take those steps, intentionally to really improve this season?
For Upton, it's just reps. Anytime a rookie, especially a guy who plays his play style, the violence at which he plays, it's more just getting reps and starting to feel the game and understanding where he needs to put his body and all the techniques that we're asking and how he can. You know, like I said, I've always said, like, a coach's job is to give a player a little foundation to stand on, something rock solid that he can count on play in and play out. It's a player that's going to expand that along with reps and coaching and just bring more awareness to what he's being asked out of all his different techniques. How can he expand that foundation so he can stretch the limits of what he's capable of? And Upton has done that week after week after week, and I still don't even think he's close to done. I think he's got so much left in the tank. He's learning so much every single week, and it's been good for him. I'll echo what Kyle said. I do think he had his best game on Sunday night, was it Sunday night? Saturday night. Thank you. Every day goes together, but I thought he was. I mean, he showed his violence in the flat on a big tight end. I mean, he knocked a couple of old linemen on their backs, or shed them at least, threw them to the ground. I mean, he's a good little player, man. He's going to be good in this league for a while.
What can you tell us about Garrett Wallow? He's a new guy and a guy that fans are just sort of familiarizing themselves with right now. What's he good at?
Yeah, he's good at playing linebacker. But he was with Houston, so he knows our system a little bit. You know, I've been thoroughly impressed with him. He understands the techniques that we're asking. It's been almost seamless. Just watching him in individual, watching him in team, watching him because we are unique in regard to how we do things at linebacker, and it seems like he has a lot of recall from just his brief moment in Houston. You know, he's really good. He's patient. He understands routes. He understands concepts. He's good in communication. So very smart linebacker also. But no, we've got all the faith in the world that he'd be able to go out there and execute.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you guys.
Morning. Ready.
What are the big challenges in going against a Vic Fangio defense?
Yeah, I mean, it always starts with the players. You know, they're super talented on defense, up front especially. You know, starts with 98. It's one of the most talented interior players that we've gone against. But all their interior players are really strong, physical guys, really good edge setters. And then when you look at their linebackers, I mean, Bond's about as smart and instinctive as a linebacker gets in this league, and then just really solid in the back end. So all three levels, they're talented, extremely well coached and coordinated. Vic knows how to identify what you're trying to do and take away those things that your offense is trying to exploit. And that's why they're a top defense. We're going on the road again. We're going on the road, so the environment's going to make it harder. So it's a big challenge.
When George Kittle's gone down this season, Jake Tonjes has really stepped up and produced, and I feel like a lot of fans have sort of expected wait until those two guys get on the field together. That hasn't happened much this season. Is there a schematic reason for that? Do they not complement each other that well, or is it something you're holding in your back pocket?
I wouldn't reveal that. No, I mean, you got to go 12 personnel, right? Which we don't do a ton of to begin with, you know. And so yeah, we'd love to have Jake and George out there as far as when you're trying to take advantage of passing situations. But, you know, when you really look at when we put 12 out there, really in first, second down running situations, and, you know, we haven't done that a ton this year. You know, we're definitely more of a 21 team. We've done a little bit more 22. We want to get Jake out there too, you know, with George. So it's something we do talk about it. It comes up, but it hasn't really fit so far with kind of our personnel and what we've been in the majority of the year. But no, for sure, you'd love to have Jake and George out there too, and something we always talk about and work through as the week goes on.
The aftermath of a game like Seattle, when you guys had just been on such a roll, and then 3 points, which for you guys is pretty much unheard of. Is it shock, anger? How would you what would the aftermath and looking at the film, what was that like?
Yeah, a little bit of, I mean, I wouldn't say shock. I mean, it's an NFL game. We got punched in the mouth. We didn't play good, and we got beat. I mean, that's what happened. But, yeah, I think our guys were a little pissed off. I mean, I think they were disappointed. We were all disappointed in how we played and how we coached, and it wasn't our best. Anytime that happens, you don't feel good for a couple of days, but then you regroup, and to me, it motivates me, and I think it motivates our players to watch the tape. We know we can be better. It wasn't like we got beat because we, can't do things. We didn't play good, and our players know they can play better, and they know that if we play better and we make a few more plays, we're in that game in the end, and we got a chance to win it. And so we take that, and we let it motivate us, and hopefully it leads to a better play this week. So
some of the players have said that they can't remember having 2 consecutive kind of short week preparations. In hindsight, does that play into not playing as well as you could have against the Seahawks?
I mean, I would never make that excuse, and it's not an excuse, but it is maybe a reality. We did play 2 games on 2 short weeks, and that's hard. I mean, to me, where it showed up was maybe fatigue, whatever, but it showed up. We didn't get to practice full speed for a couple weeks, which I think maybe does show some of your technique, your fundamentals, maybe some of your timing in the pass game, where that maybe affects it. But who's to say? I'm not going to use that as an excuse, but those are all things that are realities when you face short weeks like that. So
that means that you couldn't, in a short week, you can't have that full Thursday, big practice that you have.
Yeah, I mean, you're just worried about you're thinking about your guys, and they're coming off a game a few days ago, and are you going to make them go out there and run full speed, and are you going to put them through the normal Thursday practice routine? And we have to make decisions about whether we're going to prioritize rest and getting our guys' legs, or prioritize full speed reps. And last week for sure was one where we looked at our guys need rest, they need to get their legs back, and so you sacrifice the full speed practice reps.
Preparation can you get done when you have 8 days between games as opposed to 6?
I mean, you can get more done. I think a lot of it comes down to is your brain kind of re-energizing a little bit too, and getting that extra day to kind of, digest the game, wipe it, and then get 2 full days of game planning to me is always helpful. You can really study the defense and then come back the next day and just have a real clear mind about what you want to do. When you're packing it into one day, you're jamming it all in there, and so it's different. It's better to have more time, but that's the NFL. Every team faces that every week. Everyone's always going to have short weeks. You deal with it, and we got to play better. It's just not an excuse. Yeah.
How would you describe how Brock's arm strength is, I guess, gradually improved since the elbow surgery? Like, he obviously set the franchise record in yards in 2023, but he said during that year it took him a while to ramp up to full strength. So from then to now, what have you seen?
I'd be honestly, I haven't really noticed that it's changed. I mean, to me, it's good. It's where it's been, since training camp. When he had the injury, you noticed there was a progression, and to me, it was a confidence thing where he was finally letting it rip. Really, as you got into the preseason that year and into the season, as past 2 years have gone on, I haven't noticed it from Brock much. I think earlier in the year with his toe, I think there were some things that affected it, but that was more related to the lower body. But I think his arms is strong, and he looks as powerful as he's been in his whole career. So,
what was it like to game plan without Trent Williams going into that Seattle game? And obviously, you guys are hoping you can come back, but how difficult would it be to go up against that Eagles defense? Without him there. Yeah,
it's Trent's an elite player, and when you don't have him, and you're not going to have him, you do have to think about, okay, how are we going to, how are we going to, cover for that? How are we going to make up for it? And so you're always doing things strategically, whether you're helping a tackle or you're, having protection slide a certain way, whatever. It's a huge challenge, but that's, again, the reality of the NFL. You lose players, you adjust. But when Trent is in there, there's certain things you don't think about. You just kind of know he's good. So it just gives you more to think about, but that's our job. When you lose guys, you got to adjust. So, man, to me, it's just there's the fundamentals to his defense that he's always had, and they haven't changed much, and they're so well coached in those things. His coverages, to me, they're the same as they've been, but he's so good at adjusting to modern pass concepts, and he knows where the holes are that you're trying to attack in his defense, and he's going to try to take those away. It's just, you can tell he's a coach who studies your scheme. He tries to study and take away the things you do well, and he's locked in on it, and so to me, that's what he's the best at in this league. It's not that it's crazy how the scheme or anything. It's when he calls things. It's how he coaches his players to know what you're doing and to try to capitalize on what the offense is doing. So, yeah.
Was there a time when you and your brother decided you wanted to become NFL head coaches? Follow your dad.
I don't think I ever got into this. Either of us said we're doing this to be head coaches. I think that's something that would happen naturally if you had success and you were a part of winning teams, but I think being around football your whole life, you just, me personally, I got away from it for a few years and came back to it. I tested the waters in other areas. I think when you're just around football, you realize you're passionate about it. You love being around players. You love helping guys, and then you rise and you become whatever you become based on your work and the success you have as a team. And so I'm happy for him that he's getting some opportunities too. But yeah, I think when it was all said and done, we were done playing and kind of moved on with our lives. We're like, all right, we need to coach. It's what we're kind of born to do. So yeah.
Jacob Cowling looked in his first practice since August.
Good. It was good to see him out there again, running routes, doing scout team. This guy's got some wheels. He can roll. He's good to see a guy out there with some speed and see him moving around again. I know it's been a long year for him, but it was refreshing to see him back on the field and with a smile on his face and working again. So.
Devontae Smith this week.
What was that?
Does he play the role of Devontae Smith?
That would make sense to me. That's a question for Saleh. I'm not, but yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
Teaching high school English?
Oh yeah, every day. Yeah, I loved teaching. That was a great job. I always say I'd go back and do it again in a heartbeat. I was really passionate about it. A lot of respect for teachers and high school coaches. All right, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Really?
obviously faced the Eagles a few times. Is this, it seems like a lot of their players are the same. They run essentially the same stuff that you were familiar with compared in 22 and 23.
I mean, there are some, same couple guys, but with Vic Fangio being there and their scheme being slightly different, it's different. So there's that, but also just the talented players, obviously, that they have are still there. And, as a whole, I feel like just like who the Eagles are, that sort of still feels the same just in terms of them being a really good organization and a team that's going to bring it every game, and you got to be on your best to have a chance against them. So we all feel that. So that in itself is the same.
Well, going back to Philadelphia in January, it's just 3 years later, but is it causing any reflection on just what your journey has been like? I mean, that 3 years your life has changed so much?
A little bit, but not really. Obviously I'm thankful to be able to have healed up from the injury and go to a Super Bowl and have 3 more seasons after what had happened there. But, more than anything, it's, our 2025 season and trying to finish strong and go in and compete against a new team, scheme kind of feel. That's where my mindset's at with that. Obviously, we know Philly and being there and their environment, their fans, all the things. It's getting prepared for that right now rather than, having flashbacks or anything like that. I already went there in 2023 and played after what had happened in 22, so I feel like that's out of the way and ready to move on.
Fears at that moment that your career could be, your future could be in jeopardy?
Back in 22? Yeah. You tear your UCL, the ligament that you use as a quarterback, as a thrower. Obviously you start thinking about your future and things and coming back from the injury. And it was at the end of the year, so I was questioning, will I be back in time? Will I be the guy come the start of the season? Stuff like that. So, I feel like in the moment, yes, but now we're moved on and ready to go.
In this system, once you break the huddle, what is your checklist of things that you need to acknowledge or notice or see at the line of scrimmage before the ball is snapped?
Man, there's a lot. Every play has its own, deal, and obviously what we're trying to do, whether it's run or pass. And obviously I think the front has a big play in terms of what we're trying to do protection-wise. And then from there, looking at the safety structure, and I know quarterbacks always say that. What's the front? What are the safeties doing? And then sort of assess the little details from there. But, in our offense with the amount of shifts and motions and snap points, like that's a whole nother dynamic that you have to be on top of. Kyle puts that on us as the quarterbacks to manage that. But it all, once you're on top of it and you execute in the right way, it's for a reason and a really good reason. So, I don't know. I feel like those are the main things that I sort of have to break the huddle and be on top of. Snap point, different motions, and we have a motion coming from outside in, snapping the ball inside that receiver, outside that receiver. Juice on all his different kind of motions as well. Like snap points are a big part of our offense.
There's a lot of light boxes this week, and may face them again. What's the challenge of throwing when teams are have 6 guys in the box?
Yeah, obviously that means coverages and stuff. Guys dropping back in zone can be more difficult when there's guys out there, and the goal obviously is to be able to run the ball really well in those instances. But the minute they do stack the box at some point in the game, then you have to be ready to be able to throw the ball and execute in that regard. So I feel like Kyle does a good job with making sure that we all understand what kind of game it's going to be. If they're going to load the box, what our answer is. If they're not, let's do our job, whether it's still throwing the ball or running the ball really well efficiently. So, I feel like the Eagles do a good job of switching things up and making it hard to run the ball with their front that they have and dropping guys back in coverage. So we respect the heck out of what they do, but, we also got to be on top of our job and have success in what we've always done.
So many young guys on the field.
Does it feel, it's been a couple of years, like you said. Has it gotten stronger, like, every year? Is it the strongest it's ever been? How confident are you in it now compared to maybe a few years ago?
Man, that's a tricky question just because, you get hurt and then you're trying to rehab to get back to feeling good as a thrower and it's always hard to tell, like, is my arm stronger or not? Like, I'd like to think so. But, you know, for me, like, where I'm at, that was 3 years ago, so it's tough to, you know, go back and say, all right, my arm is stronger than it was 3 years ago. I honestly, I don't know the answer to that, but I do feel, all I know right now is I feel really good, you know, with the throws that I can make across the field and taking shots downfield, throwing the ball outside the numbers, you name it. Like, I feel good with where I'm at. So hopefully that answers your question, but, you know, I feel like all the rehab and all the arm care stuff that we do here has allowed me to be at my best right now. So.
They talked about how maybe there was a little frustration after the last game versus Seattle. What is your role in making sure that the mood and the attitude in the offensive player rooms are positive going forward?
Yeah, I think, you know, guys have done a good job of just understanding, like, yeah, it sucked what had happened and not capitalizing on a really good opportunity. But, you know, we are in the playoffs and we don't have time to dwell on the negative things. Yes, let's learn from them, but we got to move on and flip the page pretty quickly because we're about to go and our season's on the line now. And so for us to go into a hostile environment, you got to be on top of your stuff. You got to have some energy and momentum as a team to go in and believe that you can do your job at a high level. So that's where we've been at. The guys in the locker room all feel that. There's definitely a sense of urgency, and it's the playoffs, man. So, you know, I feel like you're 0-0, you know, moving forward now. And I feel like it's a good thing for us, just obviously how the season ended, but the regular season. But, you know, guys are excited for this opportunity.
With so many young guys on the team with that hostile environment, how much conversation does there have to be just to help them get prepared for that?
Yeah, I think, you know, one, we've had guys that have played there, so we understand that. And obviously guys that have been in the NFL that have played in Philly, they get that. But, you know, Kyle's done a good job, too, of, you know, from the beginning of the week, like showing, all right, this is the environment that we're going to go into, and we have to be ready for X, Y, and Z. And so I think for the young guys, they have a good idea, but, you know, you're not going to know until you get there and you feel it. So it's going to come down to execution in big moments and, you know, not allowing the environment to get you out of your zone. You got to be locked in however you can for 4 quarters. So, thanks, guys.